would like to highly thank you, all members of this group, as well as all of you for your active participation. I'm sorry due to time limitation, we couldn't further continue to discuss this interesting topic. Now در اینجا از شما دعوت به عمل می آورم تا در بحث نگاهی به آینده با آقای داوود مرادیان بپیوندید. از ایشان خواهشمندم تا به جایگاه تشریف بیاورند. تشکر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. با عرض سلام و احترام خدمت همه خانم ها آقایان. معمولا در سایر کنفرانس ها میگن که سخنران مرزی هست بین قضا و سخنرانی. حال ما هم که هست مرزی هستم بین هرات و کابل، به دلیل که پرواز هرات به کابل 6:45 یا 7 شب هرات به کابل ترک می کند و طوری که تیم لوجستیک ما برنامه‌ریزی کرده ما باید بین 5:30 تا 5:45 باید ارگ هرات به طرف میدان هوایی کابل ترک کنیم و در این 55 دقیقه باقی مانده ما دو برنامه داریم. یکی که یک تا اندازه جمع جور کردن صحبت‌های دو روز اخیر و از همه مهمتر نیایش عارفانه موسیقی عرفانی خواهد بود. به همین دلیل من مجبور هستم که تا اندازه صحبت‌ها جمع جور کنم و به این خاطر که اکثر کسانی که در اینجا حضور دارند هم بر زبان فارسی یا پشتو و هم انگلیسی مسلط هستند، من با اجازه دوستان به زبان انگلیسی صحبت میکنم به این خاطر که برشد مهمانهای ما همه ما افغان هستیم و برای ما افغان ها مهمان نوازی بسیار مهم است و همین خاطر ایجاب میکنند که ما حق به مهمان ها بدهیم و یک اکثر مهمان های ما به زبان انگلیسی صحبت میکنن. ما به خاطر ما ادب مهمان نوازی با اجازه شما همین جلسه تا اونجا که امکان پذیر باشد با زبان انگلیسی تعقیب میکنم. At my opening remark, I says that this year the third Herat Security Dialogue has been coincides with the 600 years anniversary of the birthday of one of the great Islamic Sufi, Maulana Jami. And those who know Islamic Sufism, there are two schools of Sufism, Baghdad and Khorasan, school of Sufism. And between these two schools of Sufism, of course, there are overlapping area of interest and, of course, some differences. Maulana Jami follows Ibn Arabi. And Ibn Arabi knows to be one of the early advocates of cosmopolitanism, Wahdat Jahan, and the unity of the universe. And for Ibn Arabi and also people like Jami, they did not see the world as a compartmentalized entity, but a system that consists of different components in one single unity. And in that cosmopolitanism, there was no nationalism, there was no religion, there was no ethnicity, and there was no differences that divide the people into a different community, different nation here. And I think in the 21st century, the challenge for all of us in Afghanistan and in the region and the world is how we can we recreate a cosmopolitan world that is based on the sense of solidarity and the fact that we see each other as a member of the same family of called a human being, the family of humanity here. And one of the objectives of the Herat Security Dialogue is to contribute to that sense of cosmopolitanism. And for that reason that we really, from the day one of this conference, we extend a welcoming invitation to whoever who wish to participate in this dialogue. And I think that is the one thing. And another fundamental feature and aspect of cosmopolitanism is a positive view of the humanity. Unfortunately, if we go to many international conferences, if we read any books about humanity, there is a pessimistic view of the world. I mean, by coincidence, I was reading the summary of the statement by the head of state at the UN Secretary General Summit. And one thing that has united the world is that sense of pessimism about the nature of the human being and about the future of the humanity and the future of the civilization. So that pessimism has united all of us, be it in Afghanistan, be it in Pakistan, be it in London, be it in Washington. Whereas this sense of cosmopolitanism emphasized as one of our Kyrgyz colleagues described Dr. Ashraf Ghani's economic policy about possibility. And the cosmopolitanism is based on the belief in the capacity of the human beings to advance towards a moral community here. So really, we would like to finish the conference by a positive sense, by the positives and the way forward here. And for that, I would like to bring a number of speakers who did not have a chance to contribute to this conference. So I would have 3 to 4 speakers who I would like them to speak between 2 to 3 minutes. And the message that I would like them to emphasize is the way forward. And I emphasize on our ability to create, on our ability to be constructivism, and our ability to be optimistic about our capacity to be creative here. And the first on my list is one of the senior Afghan official who is the advisor to Afghanistan's Minister of Finance, Mr. Nazir Kabiri, who would like to speak 2 to 3 minutes maximum on what he sees as a young Afghan who was born in Afghanistan, who studied during the Taliban or during the Civil War. He studies at Kabul University. Then he had a chance to study in Western University. Now he's a senior official at Afghanistan's Minister of Finance. So I would like first Mr. Nazir Kabiri to come, and then I would like to ask our only Chinese participants, my dear colleague from Beijing University, who unfortunately who did not have the chance to speak. And the third speaker will be one of the rising Afghan journalists, Mr. Jubran, who is the leading correspondent of one of the Afghanistan leading TV network, Television Yak, the One TV. And when they speak for these three, 2 gentlemen and 1 lady speak, then I would collect some intervention from the conference, and then I promise to shut up, and we would have an excellent Sufi music. Mr. Kabiri, if you would like to come to the podium, please.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I would rather sit next to you and talk. It's a pleasure being here with you. And my apologies, I couldn't be there yesterday to present to you on the regional economic cooperation, but it's an honor speaking here this evening. And I hope I am not here between you and the music, as Dr. Moradian Saab was referring, him being between you and Kabul. But on a very quick note, on the way forward, I might only touch on a few issues. If I might also switch to Farsi, provided here I'm in a historical place in the Herat city, and the number of Afghan audience growing. And I trust that the translator, my friend, my colleague, he will do a better job on getting this message to the international participants. بحث اول را که من می‌خواستم عنوان کنم خدمت دوستایی که تشریف دارن، بزرگوارایی که هستند، بحث اقتصادی است. بحثایی که در دیروز اشاره شده و موضوعات همکاری‌های اقتصادی منطقوی، آنچه که در پنل گذشته بحث می‌کردن، موضوعات همکاری‌های اقتصادی، همکاری‌های منطقوی در رابطه با سیاست و موضوعات امنیت بود. آنچه که دکتر صاحب مستور و دوستای ما حتما در پنل‌های گذشته یاد کردن، بحث‌های اقتصادی بوده و جنبندی از یک مقدار در کنفرانس بعدی که با 15 یا فعلا در 15 نوامبر سال روان میلادی به لندن برگزار میشه و روی اجندای از که یک اجندای افغانی است، از ماها به این طرف کار صورت گرفته. امیدواریا به این است که یکی از کنفرانس های موفق به دولت آینده باشه و زمینه را به خاطر سیگنال دهی در قسمت همکاری های متداوم جامعه بین المللی بر افغانستان زمینه شود. دو شاخص عمده را ما در این کنفرانس تعقیب خواهد کردیم. یکی بحث همکاری های اقتصادی منطقوی است و باعث یک پتانسیل افغانستان که اینجا مزیت مقایسوی داره و بحث دیگه هم بحث سکتور خصوصی است که موضوع ایجاد کار و شغل است. بعد از بحران انتخاباتی باور ما به این است که بحران شغل یکی از چالش‌های جدی از این جامعه و این را تا جای ما بتونیم مرفوع بسازیم. در قسمت سکتور خصوصی بحثایی را که ما عنوان می‌کنیم در کنفرانس لندن با کنفرانس‌های دیگه تفاوتشی باشه این خواهد بود که همیشه کنفرانس‌ها یک فرصت یا وینیو یا محل به خاطر گرفتن پول بیشتر کمک از دنیا نباید باشه، بلکه بتونیم یک مقدار پتانسیل‌های داخلی اقتصاد افغانستان رویش کار کنیم و او عبارت از رشد سکتور خصوصی و اگر در پولیش بتونیم از بانک جهانی و بعضی ادارات دیگه تضمین به خاطر سرمایه‌گذاری‌ها یا اینوستمنت گارانتیز اینجا به وجود بیاریم. و بحث دیگه در قسمت حق ترانزیت است. حق ترانزیتی که کشورهایی که در کنفرانس اشتراک میکنن از اونها خواستار حق ترانزیت هستیم و به خاطر تجارت و کالاهای افغانستان. بحث سوم در قسمت سکتور خصوصی موضوع صدور نیروی کار افغانی به مارکت آسیای شرقی است که این بحث بتونه راجع باشه و در این قسمت مذاکرات ما آغاز کردیم. در بحث کمک ها امو اصول حسابدهی مشترکه یا آنچه که به نام TMF یا توکیو میوچوال اکاونتیبیلیتی فریمورک باعث یک میکانیزم به وجود آمد. به اساس از او پیش خواهد رفتیم و او قابل قبول بوده به جامعه جهانی و برای ما و به اساس از او کمک های دنیا مشروط خواهد بود. و در پالوی از او بحث دیگه را که من عنوان میکردم با از فرصت یک دقیقه دیگه که خواهد داشتم بحث ریفرم است. دنیا و همچنان ملت افغانستان خواستار یک سلسله اقدامات جدی از اداره جدید هستند و در اون قسمت تا جایی که مربوط ما میشده دولت فعلی پیشنهادات را به رئیس جمهور جدید پیشنهاد کردیم که فردا در بیانیه تحلیف و یا ایناگرال اسپیچ شما شاهد خواهد بردین. بحث‌های از قبیل موضوع کابل بانک خیلی جدی است. اراده سیاسی میخواهد و به شدت باید تعقیب شود. در این قسمت دنیا خواهان پیشرفت است و همچنان ملت افغانستان. بحث دیگه موضوع قانون معادن است یا ماینینگ لا که باید از یک مقدار دو تجدید نظر شود که فارن دایرکت اینوستمنت یا آنچه که سرمایه‌گذاری مستقیم خارجی است او را جلب کنه. بحث سوم در قسمت ریفرم گمرکات است. پیشنهاد ما است که اگر بتونیم یک مقدار از نگاه ساختاری در گمرکات هوایی در افغانستان تغییرات ایجاد شود. و بحث اساسی دیگه که دکتر صاحب غنی و دکتر صاحب عبدالله و هم تیمیاشان با او موافق هستند، افغانستان به 8 زون اقتصادی باید از تبدیل شود و در هر زون شاخص‌های مشخص اقتصادی رویش کار شود و مزیت‌های مشخص و 8 زون بررسی شود و بر اساس از پالیسی و پلان‌ها جور شود. و بحث دیگه که است که قبول شده از طرف هر دو بزرگواری که فردا مراسم تحلیفشان است، یک چیزی که باعث یک فرهنگ در افغانستان باید رایج شود موضوع اصلاحات است و اصلاحات 100 روزه. این را به دو بخش تقسیم کردن، یکی 45 روز و دیگه 100 روز و راپوردهی از این به ملت افغانستان. با این پلان و اجندایی که فعلا داریم تا رفتن به طرف کنفرانس لندن امیدوار هستیم که یک مقدار زمینه سازی شود به خاطر به دست آوردن کمک ها در ساحات مشخص و همچنان زمینه سازی شود به خاطر روحیت دهی دوباره به اقتصاد افغانستان و به سکتور خصوصی. تشکر.
Reinforce Mr. Kabir, from tomorrow Afghanistan will have a new president, President Dr. Ashraf Ghani, and Chief Executive who would have a functioning responsibility as a Prime Minister. and I have the pleasure of working and interacting with both Dr. Ashraf Ghani and Dr. Abdullah. Both of them have an excellent and distinctive quality. Dr. Ashraf Ghani is a graduate and a lecturer and a professor of one of the leading global university, and Dr. Abdullah is a statesman and a seasoned politician. And if these two complement their skill and the quality together, I think Afghanistan would have an extremely strong government, because both of them bring to the Afghan government a different and complementing quality here. And I'm sure both of them, they know what is at stake in working together. Thank you, Mr. Kabiri. Now I would like to ask our only Chinese participants if she could kindly speak a few words about how she sees the world, including Afghanistan, China bilateral relations.
I would like to express my best thanks for inviting me here for this stimulating conference and offering me this privilege. With this opportunity, I would like to make a short response to the China topic and also share one comment about international cooperation on Afghanistan. So that's 2 points. Point one, China's existence in Afghanistan has been insignificant so far, comparing with the United States, Russia, Iran, India, and many other countries. During the past decades, some countries have been competing for certain special status or privilege in Afghanistan, even extending their rivals to this land. But China has never been a player among them. In regarding to the hot debated looking west or westward policy of China, my knowledge is that this vision was first promoted by a scholar, my teacher, Professor Wang Jisi at Peking University, instead of by any politicians. And one of the most important reasons behind this vision, as far as I know, was that China needs to develop her west region so as to narrow the increasing gap between China's west and east. It was hence basically a domestic strategy. Of course, I can understand how the world worries about the so fast growing up of Chinese economy in terms of GDP total, and different political system, absence of transparency about China's politics might be some of the key reasons for this worry. Still, I've got to say, this image is different from Chinese self-understanding, and therefore, from Chinese point of view, this is a kind of, I've got to say, a misconception. Also, both regional and international countries have high expectations from China. And with this phenomenon, I would like to say that's the honor of China. Yet, as a conservative scholar, I want to say that will put too much burden upon China in that China is now experiencing a difficult reform period and has so many domestic problems to be solved in the coming years. And point two, my comment about the challenges on international cooperation on Afghanistan. It has been widely accepted that stability and the security of Afghanistan are vital for regional and international peace and prosperity. Unfortunately, however, each country has its own political culture and priorities in practice. And Afghanistan is not always the first concern for all the shareholders. And that is the rule of real politics. On the other side of the coin, different states are now pursuing their own interests in this region, which might lead to a new game. How to realize the true cooperation of international community to help Afghanistan? That's the point, as well as the biggest challenge for any effective international cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. I just want to reinforce the history of the Afghanistan-China bilateral relation. You may not know that the first ambassador of Afghanistan, or Afghanistan that now has become Afghanistan, was sent to China nearly 500 years ago during a Timuri dynasty, Shah Rukh Mirza. And during the Timuri dynasty, Herat was the capital of the Timuri dynasty. And the first ambassador of the Timuri dynasty was sent to China. And the only ambassador that was accepted by the kingdom of the China by then was a representative from the kingdom of the Timuri dynasty. Then the Chinese did not accept any European envoy because they did not consider European as worth being an empire or dynasty. So the only empire that was recognized by the Chinese imperial system was the Timuri dynasty. And there was a representative from the Timuri dynasty sent from Herat to Beijing to be representative of the Timuri dynasty in Beijing. And I think that is an indication that the relationship between Afghanistan and China is such fantastic that it is, at least in the diplomatic sense, is more than 500 years. Now, our last speaker, and certainly is not the least speaker, is one of the rising Afghan young journalists, Mr. Jubran, who doesn't know that I'm going to ask him that if he wants to speak on this panel. So he'll be totally shocked. آقای جبران شما هستین؟ خب شما چندین مرتبه از من مصاحبه کردین، سوالهای سخت پرسیدین، حال بسیار روز مقابله به مثل است. اگر شما بیاین برای 200 دقیقه در مورد جوانان افغانستان، رسانه‌های افغانستان صحبت کنید، چون هدف این نشست آخری بیشتر یک نگاه مثبت است به آینده. اگر در 200 دقیقه صحبت کنیم ببینید که ما بخصوص دوستان مهمانایی که ما از خارج از افغانستان آمدن اینجا میشینین شما یا پشت پودیوم. سیس.
سلام به نام خدا، به اجازه تمام دوستان و بزرگوارانی که اینجا تشریف دارند، با اجازه دکتر صاحب مرادیان، آقای کبیری و سایر دوستایی که اینجا تشریف دارند، من فکر میکنم با معذرت کم ناوقترم رسیدم. دوستای کلانتر از من، استادای بسیار بزرگوار اینجا تشریف دارند، کسایی که اهل خانواده مطبوعات هستند و حرفای نسبت به من در پیوند به آزادی بیان و مطبوعات دارند. فقط من میخوایم چند مورد بگویم. اولی که یکی از درشترین مواردی که ما میتونیم روی از او حداقل به عنوان دستاورد در یک دهه گذشته از او یاد کنیم، بحث آزادی رسانه ها و آزادی بیان است. آزادی بیان که به عنوان یک دستاورد خیلی شاخص مطرح است، این هم مدیون همین نظام جدید است. بدون هیچ شکی که قوتی که آزادی بیان و جریان مدرن شدن آزادی بیان در افغانستان برای انداخت هم نسلای ما بوده و دوستایی که از ما کلانتر بودن، ما اونا را به عنوان کسایی که الهام بخش بودن به ما از اونا آموختیم و تانستیم یک جریان جدید را تشکیل بدیم. هر بار که راجع به نظام نوین در افغانستان صحبت میشه، بدون هیچ شکی که درشترین موردی که در ذهن تمام افغان ها، دوستای ما که در کشورهای منطقه و فرامنطقه است، شاخصترین بحث بحث آزادی بیان است. آزادی بیان که یک تکان داد و دموکراسی را در افغانستان زنده نگه داشت و در خیلی موارد هم ما از آدرس اینمی تریبیون تانستیم به مسائل بسیار کلان افغانستان هم دادخواهی کنیم. حداقل صداهایی که از تریبیون های مختلف بلند بوده و حرف های برای گفتن داشتن. وسیله سازی شد تا ای که دیگه صدای در گلوی خفه نشه و ما بتانیم یک حرکت را به پیش برتیم که حداقل زنده نگه کنیم همه بحث دموکراسی را، ارزش هایی که تا یک دهه ما به دست آوردیم. فکر میکنم کلانترین نقش هم اینجا جا داره که ما از بزرگای خانواده مطبوعات افغانستان یاد کنیم که خیلی از دوستای ما اینجا تشریف داره، ولی باید بگیم که پیشتر هم گفتم از اینکه هم نسلا با یک فکر و یک خط که ایجاد کردیم حداقل تانستیم که این روند به پیش ببریم. هنوز هم آزادی بیان به گونه که ما میگیم مشکلات خود داره، هنوز هم صدا بلند کردن با توجه به اینکه تقدیر میکنه مدیون هستیم برای از نظام جدید، هنوز هم قربانی میگیره در خیلی موارد، ولی با توجه به تمام مشکلاتی که وجود داره میتونیم به عنوان یک دستاورد خیلی کلان در بحث نظام جدید و رویکرد جدید در افغانستان حداقل استدلال کنیم که آزادی بیان از درشترین موارد است.
بله خب ماش نمونه خلوار است. Thank you very much. I think I said to my colleagues, Ms. Masood and Ms. Ramin, who in Kabul, they are senior official in their respective profession, they kindly accepted to volunteer to moderate the conference. And I think they are following strictly the instruction. Now she's giving the instruction that I have to shut up, yes? I will do it, yes. I just want to finish, if you give me 2 minutes here, and just to give you a flavor for the musical concert, is that it is a kind of a sensitive issue that may not fully and well understood here, but in Herat, we have nearly 70 type of grapes, and we try to display just 2 type of them here. And the one below, the reddish wine, there is a kind of story that was used to produce wine. And when Afghanistan was in a better shape, there was a Jewish neighborhood in Herat, Mahalle Musaya. And I'll just give you an indication of our part of the world, which is not by any means unique to Herat. This peaceful coexistence of a different culture and different religion. So there is still a neighborhood in the old town of Herat called the Jews neighborhood. The Jews neighborhood and the Jews in Herat, they have a kind of, because of the Sharia law, Islamic law, I think they gave them this privilege to produce a wine for their own consumptions. So, and that type of grape was used by the Jews of Herat to produce wine for themselves here. So for many centuries, Herat was a center of, in addition to being a center of the Sufism, as in addition to the center of Islamic, Sharia also was an important center of producing wine because of this, the grape that we produce here. Yes, and I think, so I'm not recommending you to, I'm not imagining a time that we produce wine, but I would highly recommend that you try to take full advantage of the wine, the grape that Herat produce. And also, again, as I give an example that in Europe, during the, prior to the Second World War, all Jewish graveyards were destroyed because of this polygamy. But now in Herat, next to a Muslim cemetery, there is still a Jewish cemetery. And the Jewish graveyard are preserved by the Muslims of Herat. And right now there are 3, can be a functioning Jewish synagogue in the old town in Herat. and no one has touched the Jewish synagogue in Herat. One of them now is a public school, and another one is a private house, and another one is a sort of a library here. So despite all of upheaval that we have seen in this part of the world, I think we respect this religious diversity, which is essential part of here. And really for us, the future is recreating that society, that different religion, different culture coexist peacefully with each other. So once again, many thanks for accepting our invitation to come to in Herat. And I would like to officially advise you that the first Herat Security Dialogue will take place in the first week of October. I spoke with the local authority about the arrangement for the next year. So please keep in your diary the first week of October as the date for the first security dialogue. And I would like to conclude by expressing my wholehearted appreciation to all who have made possible this conference. As I said in my opening remarks, from Kabul, I brought only 3 or 4 of my staffs, and they came only a few days ago. Whatever you saw in this conference was a truly voluntary contribution. So many thanks for all of you. Now I stop here, and we will have a 10-15 minutes of Sufi music, and as soon as the music is finished, our logistic colleagues will take care of arranging to transfer the luggage and you to the airports. Once again, many thanks, and I wish you a very pleasant journey back home. Thank you.